Well, the Republic of Turkey has the 8th largest economy in Europe, and it's committed to becoming a member of the European Union. We are just 1 week away from the IMF and World Bank meetings that will be underway in Istanbul. And right now, we're joined by Deputy Prime Minister Ali Babacan. He's going to give us his thoughts on what to expect out of those meetings and Turkey's current economic condition. Thank you so much for joining us in studio, sir.
Thank you for the invitation.
Well, I know you just released within the past few weeks a 3-year plan for turning around the Turkish economy. You're seeing negative growth for the rest of this year, about 3.5% for 2010 and then upwards for 2011. How do you plan to spur that growth?
Turkish economy has performed remarkably between 2003 to 2008 period. And this growth mainly came from private sector activity. And I was with my Prime Minister in Pittsburgh just recently. And the outcome of the G20 meetings is more positive, I would say, about expectations than the previous meetings. And we are going to be hosting the World Bank IMF annual meetings in Istanbul starting from next week. There will be more discussions about what to expect. But in line with the gradual recovery of the world economy, Turkey is also going to start recovering during the last quarter of this year. But it will be probably one of the fastest growing economies of Europe in year 2010.
Where's that growth going to come from? What areas are you seeing vibrancy in?
It is traditionally our growth comes from private sector investments and private consumption. The government spending usually in Turkey does not really help growth. We did do some additional spending towards the end of 2008 during the first half of 2009, but we have already reversed that strategy and we have already started fiscal tightening because we believe that it's very important for the government to leave room for private sector. Whenever there is additional government spending, it becomes an overcrowding outcome for the financial sector, for Turkish banking system and so forth. So by reducing public sector borrowing requirement, we would like to have more allocated funds by our banks for the private sector, for consumer credits, for loans to industry, and so forth.
And that's as an alternative to turning to the IMF for further funding?
The medium-term economic program, which we have already declared, is not based on an IMF standby assumption.
And
so
you don't expect
it's a self-sustained program. But we are talking with the fund. We have already submitted the details of our program, and now the IMF analysts are looking into the details. We would like to have a standby arrangement with the fund because in a scenario where we do have a standby arrangement, it will help us in terms of more growth. It will help us reduce the domestic rollover rates for Turkish Treasury. So our preference is to have a standby arrangement, but of course we need to agree on the details.
Right.
And sometimes the devil is in the details when we talk with the fund. Actually, Turkey has successfully completed 2 standby arrangements in 2005 and 2008. And Turkey was a success story for the fund. So we would like to have an arrangement. But of course, the basis should be our own program. We have to do whatever we believe in. Ownership of the program is very important. So our program is going to be the basis for further negotiations with IMF.
Do you expect the IMF meeting is going to be taking place in Istanbul just next week? Do you expect to get any kind of response from the IMF in terms of their review of this economic program and whether or not they're going to continue to help provide some cheap funding?
We, as the government, we will be very busy within the next 10 days. And the fund top management is going to be also very busy during the next 10 days. So probably after the annual meetings, maybe mid-October or so, we may have probably time to sit down and talk about the details. So I would not expect any outcome during the annual meetings in Istanbul. But then talks will probably take place after mid-October, and we will see where those talks will head to.
Okay. We just have about 30 seconds. We're going to come back after this break to talk to you again. But very quickly, do you expect to turn to the international markets or domestic markets as an alternative to the IMF to raise funds?
We have already declared our funding program for this year, and we have almost completed that funding program. What is more important is, I think, for year 2010, 2011, and so forth. And for 2010, for 2011, we have not yet declared our funding program.
Okay.
Depending on whether we do a deal with IMF or not, we are going to be announcing our financing program accordingly.
So we'll find that out. At least after next week. All right, stay with us after this break. We'll be back with Turkey's Deputy Prime Minister, Ali Babacan. Stay with us. We're back with Turkey's Deputy Prime Minister, Ali Babacan. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been talking about the Turkish economy and your plan for revitalizing over the next 3 years growth there. A big portion of any conversation about the future of Turkey's economy has to include the bid for acceptance into the European Union. You've been at the forefront of those negotiations. Now that we've had this election in Germany just yesterday, Angela Merkel, once again, going to be in the chancellor position, that's sort of added speculation that perhaps Germany may pull back some of the opposition that it's voiced to Turkey's entrance into the EU. Do you expect to be part of the EU in less than 10 years?
Our EU accession process is on track and it's moving on. It is difficult to be so definitive in terms of the exact timing of the accession. But what is important for us is the process itself. Because during the process, we continuously improve ourselves. We continuously do reforms on the political side, on the economic side. We continuously improve our democratic system. We enhance our fundamental rights, freedoms, practices. We enhance the rule of law in Turkey. And also for sectoral policies, we bring long-term predictability to our country. So we have every reason to be in this process and to move forward. And there will be ups and downs. And these ups and downs will be due to the political developments in Europe, maybe sometimes due to the political developments in Turkey as well. There are a few number of countries, not too many, a few number of countries which mention some concerns about full membership.
Right.
But there's a strong consensus.
Germany,
sometimes Austria. But there's a strong consensus about the process itself. The debate is it's about what's going to happen at the very end. Will Turkey become a full member or not? That is where the debate is.
But in less than 10 years, you say you don't know.
We would be ready much earlier.
Right.
We have already planned so that in 3 to 4 years, we will be able to complete our reforms, which is necessary. But no matter how much Turkey is ready to accede, how much Turkey is ready to become a member of the EU, at the end of the day, it is going to be a political decision. Right now, for example, we have out of 35 chapters, we have opened 11 of them. We have ready 6 more chapters to open immediately. The Commission reported all the capitals that Turkey is 100% ready to open these chapters and go ahead. But just because of the political blockage coming from whether France or from other countries, we are not able to formally open those chapters. But as I said, the process itself is very rewarding. It's a win-win process. We benefit. I think the European Union also benefits because a country like Turkey is getting closer and closer to the EU structures rather than going anywhere else. I want to quickly ask you, because we're running out of time here.
Tomorrow we've got these conversations with Iran happening in regard to the development of their nuclear program.
Geneva.
Regional neighbor here. You've got pipelines through the country in terms of delivery of oil. What are you most focused on? What do you expect out of those conversations?
Well, Iran is a neighbor of Turkey, and our border has been fixed, the same identical border since 1639. So whatever happens about Iran is of utmost interest for us. Turkey is already an important energy hub. There are many oil and gas pipelines already going through Turkey, and there will be more and more of them. There are many projects, whether southeast direction or north-south direction. At the core of this question is the nuclear program of Iran, which is going to be talked between Mr. Solana and Mr. Jalili. And Turkey has been doing
We just have 15 seconds here, sir, before we end the show. Do you expect anything out of this, yes or no?
I think it will take some time.
All right. Thank you so much.